No, he's not. That's Kim.
I was like, oh, it's me.
Okay, at 7 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Patricia? Here. Eric?
Here.
Cynthia? Here. Courtney? Here. Justin?
Here. Okay, before we get started, as you can see, Mayor Geiger is out sick today. She didn't have much of a voice when I spoke with her earlier, so I will be stepping in her stead. First thing I want to do, I want to call to amend the agenda. Under the two things I want to change is under business items 10, add letter E, a presentation from DR Horton for Scioto Crossing. And the second portion would be to move item 15, executive session, up to just after that presentation, above legislation. Do you have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to go through our meeting minutes. Approval of the March 12th, 2026 public hearing minutes, IDI variance.
So moved.
Do I get-
Second.
do I get a second? Okay. All those, we do a poll, or all in favor? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next, approval of the March 2nd, 2026 public hearing meeting minutes, rezoning Scioto Estates. Do I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Jay? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Next one, approval of the March 2nd, 2026 council meeting minutes. All those, or, sorry, I need a motion.
Motion.
Thank you. Do I get Jay? Do I get a second?
Second.
Courtney? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Approval of the March 16th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting minutes. Do I get a
Motion.
Motion from Jay. Second. Tricia?
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Approval of the March 23rd, 2026 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Motion from Jay, a second. Second from Zeke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
I think we should make a motion to not have to have more than 3 of those per time.
Duly noted. Okay, next one, administrative reports. The mayor's absence, Wendy's gonna speak on the mayor's behalf on this one, please.
So what Mayor Geiger wanted me to let council know is the administration team and Councilman Weaver met with the development team for the Lane property. They have asked to come in front of council to present their plan at council's earliest convenience. Since we had a full agenda for tonight's meeting, she suggested that they come to the April committee of the whole meeting. During our meeting, they explained the way the MRIs, CT scans, and other imaging documents would be stored. They would use AI and store the information into what they are calling a library of information. They want to use alternative power for these libraries in the form of solar. If council is interested in meeting with the team and hearing what they are proposing, she will reach out to them when she returns to the office. So you don't have to make a decision right now. It is down there as a business item. If you can just let me know whether you're interested in hearing that or not, so that we can move forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Village solicitor's report.
Just one item, thanks to Jim for staying on top of the zoning violation we had. We believe it's all been cured by Mr. ICF, and second action against him should be dismissed once he cleans up the job site and all's in order. And big thank you to Jim, he's been the driving force behind it.
Police chief's report. I don't see the chief here. Anybody?
He's on
instead?
vacation.
Okay. Village administrator's report.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Okay, I had to take notes. I got a lot. We were busy last night, okay? Street Department, have concluded our interviews for a full-time person. And we're going to hopefully get them anticipated start in April sometime. We're already in the mowing season. We've mowed, he's been mowing every day. Generally takes about 30 hours, so new person coming in will hopefully alleviate some of those moves. We do have a one crack seal quote for phase 1 of Walker Point. It's been a long, long time since we've done anything as far as crack sealing subdivision, but we're into that now because there's a lot of them that are needing it. So we're going to get another quote just to make everything equal, and we'll review those. As far as stormwater, Susan's group is working on the engineering for Chestnut Estates, the issue up there. We did have an issue at Santa Crossing, where some homeowners had some issues on their backyards. We've been in contact with the developer, and hopefully they're working toward a resolution. And to that, we are also amending our subdivision regulations to improve the language in there to where we can hopefully eliminate those issues in the future. We do have a storm drop at Genoa Crossing that needs to be replaced. This is a rather large bolt, so it's going to have to be built in place. So we'll see what the pricing comes in at that.
That, where?
Genoa Crossing.
I thought those were private roads.
They're private roads. They are public stormwater
Okay. I stand corrected.
and easements. I did not know that either. So, yeah, it's ours to take care of.
I guess that's good for all of us to know moving forward. When they say private roads, yeah, we might not take care of it, but we also.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Andy. That was a learning
yeah.
experience.
So, yeah, and it's a rather large piece, and then unfortunately it's right in the middle of the road. So we'll have to address that when the time comes. We've also had another couple issues with some storm drop frames along the catch basins that were busted, and we're finding those, and we'll have to replace those as we get to them. That's about it for streets and stormwater. Water and wastewater, we're beginning to work on the well field modification on the east side. We've been starting to press biosolids at the wastewater plant. We've had so much with this new process and the new plant that we think there's a possibility we'll have to press 3 times, which will incur more money, but we'll see how the summer goes, okay?
Can you explain that just briefly?
Yes.
To press, I mean, does that mean to bring it
So,
up?
winds, we'll start at the beginning of just real briefly. So when wastewater comes in, it has solids in it. There is a large mass of bacteria, bugs, whatever, it's microscopic. They eat everything. And when they eat, they reproduce and then they die, and we have to get rid of those on a continuous basis. And that's where the wastewater sludge comes in, and then it gets pressed into a composting material. We have to get rid of that. So you either land apply it, you put it in a landfill, or you can compost it like they do up at Compton.
We don't have enough farmers that could use that stuff.
That's what we do now. That's what we do now. We put it on farm fields. So, but it costs money to get rid of that. New water reclamation plants did great this winter. We were a little antsy about how things were going to work over the winter time with new treatment processes, but they did fine. So, and we had a pretty harsh winter, so we're doing pretty good with that. We did have one issue at Walker Road Lift Station. That wastewater lift station was sized for Old Town, phase 1 of Walker Point, and a couple other small subdivisions. We've now added significant load to that. It has overflowed a couple times in March, and we're right now working with Susan's group to engineer and increase capacity of that.
that, remind me, is that the lift station that the couple people that have tried to come in are willing to
That's
fix
correct.
from on down?
That's correct.
Okay, and there's nothing from there, I mean, it's just undersized from that point out?
It is undersized at the lift station itself, and it's undersized from the force main from that lift station all the way to the wastewater plant.
So that's multi-million dollar upgrade.
Don't know yet. We're just starting that process.
It's probably gonna be more than $500.
Oh, yeah. Guarantee that.
That gave me a ballpark,
Oh, yeah.
thanks.
More than 500.
Very good,
Yes.
thank you.
So, yeah, that's in the process now and just beginning. We also had an issue in the industrial park with one of the sanitary sewers. It was a gravity sewer that failed on us. And I found out that part of the sewer system had an extended warranty with it from the contractor that put it in. So we're working with them to fix that for us.
Look at you saving us money.
Wasn't me. I didn't know about that warranty issue. That was a group effort on that, so. But we're working on that to get that done. As far as meetings, Wendy'd already mentioned the one meeting we had. We've also had a meeting with the Ohio EPA in March about our source water protection plan, which basically says we're going to make sure that we can control what happens in our wellhead protection area. As far as growth, development, what impacts we can allow.
How big area is that? How
It just depends. So there's a 1-year time of travel and there's a 5-year time of travel. And obviously the 1-year time of travel is smaller, and it won't really encroach into any developable areas on the east side. So, because it's all floodplain in there, but still we have to control what happens in there. I think that's about it. So any questions on anything?
Dave, I would just like to take a second, since I was hard on you, but thank you for taking what we had suggested and giving us a report that now I can answer questions if anybody asks with not complete ignorance. So I would just thank you for taking that feedback.
I appreciate that.
Put it to work.
I just don't want to take up the whole meeting. I mean, I can talk for a couple days.
That was a sweet spot right there.
Okay.
Use that as a baseline.
I'll work on that. Thank you, folks.
Thanks,
I'll be over here.
Okay, our village engineers report.
I don't know how you follow that, Susan.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. So in addition to what Dave had, a couple more items. So the MI Foxfire subdivision, we are reviewing the Phase 5 plans. We've provided some comments, the engineer's working on those, so we'll wait for that resubmittal.
Is that the last one?
Last one that we're aware of, yes.
For now. Yes, you're right.
And then the last item I had, Belshazzar Street, and the roadway improvements, stormwater improvements. So we're wrapping up the plans and getting the package ready to go out to bid. So that should be happening here this year. We'll see those improvements. That's all I had, in addition to what Dave, so any questions?
The Belshazzar project, is that going to deal with this hole that's running under Bowling Alley that comes out that way? It was brought up before, with Dave's person before him, and I've had a couple people mention it again. I just didn't know, because that's, we're doing all the way down. I didn't know if that goes off, or Dave, is that something we can look into again? You may not even know about it, but there's like a hole between where Ross lives and like that daycare.
Yeah.
And I tossed something down in there and you never heard it stop.
Like how big of a hole?
I mean, it's,
Oh, okay.
bocce ball a little bigger maybe. And then there's another one starting just like it on Front Street coming back into town, just maybe 200 feet past the village sign there. I think it's right before the bridge. But the only reason I noticed that one is I hit it on my wheelchair and yeeted out of it. So I kind of found that one for us, it was literally 2 days ago so it's the first time. But Yeah, I just didn't know, because if there's a problem on bowling alley, wouldn't that feed into Belshazzar or vice versa somehow?
Just depends on what's creating the hole, what the cause is. We actually have just an internal staff meeting Wednesday, so I've heard that discussed with Mike. I feel like Mike's probably been out there and
Yeah,
looked at that
he
in the
went and looked at
past.
it originally.
Okay, let me talk with Mike and maybe even John Wilson and see if they know what that is, what's causing it, and then we can follow up.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, if we can tie it together in one schwack, maybe we can get it taken care of a little bit cheaper than doing a separate project.
Right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Zoning administrator's report.
Yeah, just a few things. The 233 Victorian is finally completed almost, so we're pretty happy about that. This is grass and weed season, so here we go again. And already some problems out there, and so we'll be taking care of those through violation. The fountains, we contacted some of the HOAs and that, and make sure the fountains are up and running and that there is no bubble ups. We have some bubble ups, they are gonna have to be replaced with the fountains. I was contacted by the school's maintenance guy, and a bunch of trees are in the back, in the fence line of Carmel Court. And I couldn't figure out who wanted to get all those trees trimmed. We finally got to it, and it was the electric company hired an individual to come in there, but he didn't clean it up. So now we're in the process of contacting the electric company to get a hold of the vendor who he worked with, okay, and then we can go from there. And that's really all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Been on the fountains since last year, or the first year that there was something in place. What's gonna be the process when somebody has one not running? I mean, is there gonna be a time
We'll be
frame?
contacting people right away, yeah.
So
Yeah, we
if
contact-
people ask us,
The HOA takes care of that. If
Okay.
there is no HOA, then we go with like whoever's in charge of that, yeah. So, yeah, we keep an eye out on it pretty close. But it does need fountains and not the bubble ups. Okay. Anything else? Good.
Fiscal officer's report.
Just like I mentioned in Mayor Geiger's report, I attended the Lane property meeting. It's quite interesting. I emailed out to the new council members, the fraud reporting class. I received everybody's but Zeke's and Courtney, so I can get those done. It's an 8-minute video, very quick. I just need to have those for my reporting. On April 1st, I received a major site plan along with all of the fees from K-Nova for the Jan property. The application has been reviewed for completeness by the zoning department and will be distributed to council via your mailboxes here at the office by the end of the week. I would ask that this item be added to the COW agenda. I received notification from the auditors today that my audit will start probably in the next couple of weeks. So you'll probably be getting emails from the auditor's office just asking if you know of any fraud or anything like that. They're routine emails, they have to send them out. So just be watching for those.
Thank you, Wendy. On the legislative reports, Courtney?
None.
So, as Wendy mentioned, I think we need to bring attention to the fact that a developer submitted major site plans for data center. I think, I just think that everybody should hear that. Today we have 3 emergency items on our agenda. 3 pieces of legislation that are aimed at combating the incursion of data centers and industrial scale development that doesn't agree with the character or the identity of our village and our community. This is the first step, and it's a step that may well result in litigation. I believe that this is what our community throughout Pickaway County and rural Ohio at large has voted for, put us here. We have, constitutional amendments coming forward. I don't know sitting here today. I can't tell you what the outcome is going to be for the village. But I believe that it will be a fight. I don't want to blame current or previous leadership. I think that we got here chasing money, chasing growth, driven by fear of neighboring cities and a systemic lack of accountability. There may well be unavoidable consequences for those actions. The developer who's here today, who threatened us with litigation last month, as I mentioned at the beginning, submitted those site plans in spite of what I felt like we made very clear to him that we didn't want him here. Their intentions are unclear, but the submission underscores the urgency that at least I feel, but I believe our community feels, and the need for our action today. What is the soul of our village? What is it worth to us? Things are changing, and they're changing very quickly. I think it's clear to everyone. So what we need to know is, if not this, then what is it that we do want to drive past on our way home and when we look out our back doors? The farm fields that characterize so much of the landscape and character that we have here, I fear that they'll be gone before too long. So what is the identity of our village? Who do we want to be? And what business do we want here? As we step forth into this fight, I think we need to ask ourselves what we want this place to be in 5, 10, 15 years, and what we're willing to do, say, and most importantly, pay to make that happen. Speaking for myself, this is the first place that I've ever lived where you can leave your doors unlocked at night, where my kids can run through the neighborhood without fear, without concern, where the community still means something. To me, that's worth protecting. This place is a piece of bottled up Americana that, to be honest with you, I really thought only existed in movies before I moved here. I don't believe that truck stops or data centers reflect that identity. But this decision isn't mine alone, and to the public, I would ask you, please engage with us. To my colleagues, I would encourage you, please stay the course that we are starting on today, with courage and fortitude. Let us move forward into the future with respect for our past, hopes for our future, and the strength of our community at our back. We're all neighbors, and it's beyond past time that we put petty squabbles and personal animus behind us to forge a new future for ourselves as a community. That's all I have.
Thank you, Zeke. Patricia?
Can't really follow that up.
Eric?
I'm gonna put that up on the TV just because I've had such a hard time understanding this to myself that I'll just let you see it while I try to talk about it. You think Zeke and I talk outside of council, but I had no clue I was gonna follow that, so. Just from, and this is kind of talking to my colleagues up here. You know, when you first get elected, you're excited, you believe you can make a difference, and then it really hits, and you feel like you're drowning. You start to see how things work, or maybe more accurately, how things don't work. And for a while, you regret it every day. But then as you do it, you start to understand and see where things break down, think you can make a change. And by that time, new people's coming in that feel the same way you did 2 years ago. So you gotta move up, and you gotta let them drown, or try to not let them drown. And it's a cycle. And unfortunately, I feel like Commercial Point has fallen to a cycle of repetitiveness, and tonight could be the night that repetitiveness is broken. And so I just wanted to, with talking with my colleagues individually about their ideas and the past mayors and council members that actually came up with our ordinances, it's obvious that things are getting changed without anybody knowing. And, you know, I gotta say, hats off to Taze Valley Against Overgrowth, that they've opened people's eyes that it's broken. Whether we agree with it or not, it's gotten people out and about. But just doing things by rules, like has been done for 50 years, 60 years here, we can't do that anymore because it doesn't work. And it's not just here. We've learned that with the township recently. We've always just said, yeah, we'll do ours, you do yours. Peace, all right, bring it in. Doesn't work anymore, so that process has changed. So this is the first step, is what we've been doing. We got the council rules. Now, I feel we're at the second step, because we know the first step, it didn't work. Or we all wouldn't be here heated, pissed, except for our favorite presenters down here. They're just like, oh great, another heated meeting that we have to present a place to. Phenomenal. So we're gonna have to start legislating that, and that is gonna start tonight. We have, somebody wants to start a planning commission. We wanna have transparency. We want to have those automatic triggers that nobody can throw away in an organizational meeting, the first meeting of January every year. Do you know how many things have been changed in the last 5 years that nobody knows was even around? I'll tell you what, start looking at the old council rules. It's scary how many things have been changed. They can't do that with legislation. But what I don't want anybody to do is get that confused with the charter, because that's been used here. We are not changing our type of government, how it operates, or anything. Somebody that I look up to in the legal world said, so it's just like guardrails. I'm like, right. You know what, we had to make a change coming into town, 35 all the way in. Why? Because people was crashing into houses. Wasn't working. So what was we gonna do? Put guardrails. Well, we're gonna try the speed thing first. If it works, we don't need guardrails. If so, we need guardrails. Well, if we do that for our roadways, why wouldn't we do that for where y'all's money goes? I don't get it. So you're gonna see real quick, our next Cal meeting is probably gonna have 7 or 8 pieces of legislation, and it all works to this. It is going to make it so there is a process for a property. There is a process for everything. And those processes trigger automatic notification. This is not about administration not doing it right. They are operating under the very broken system that they've been handed and doing what has always been done. And if I have heard one thing from everybody, it's the way it's always been done ain't the way it's going to be done going to the future. And in my opinion, and the individual council members that I've talked to, this is where we think it needs to go. And I don't think we can do it as a package, but it just needs to happen so that we don't end up here. Listen, we've priced our farmers out of their business. We've priced them out. Why? Because everybody wants to be here. We've priced them out. Well, we got to make sure that we don't price ourselves out so that our homes are no longer affordable for us.
Thank you, Eric, appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we'll move on to my legislative
Jay.
time.
Oh, no, it's you, sorry. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Thank you for trying to keep you straight, I appreciate it. So
Thank you,
now,
sorry.
unintentionally dovetailing on what you were saying, there a couple of things. One, yes, the planning commission legislation, one that I feel strongly about, yes, will be brought up in the CAL for us to take action on and have discussion on to make sure that we do get that right, and to make sure that we do have another layer of our citizens watching our zoning, watching where we're going in the future, helping with our zoning, our comprehensive plan. Absolutely, so we will have that. The one thing that I do want to come up and I'm going to bring for a vote today is something that I noticed when I sat on the other side there as late as last year, was that in our rules, in our council rules, we do not have a guardrails, if you will, but standards in which we conduct ourselves during our meetings with respect and decorum, and how we actually go through interacting with the public. So I'm going to make a motion on, and I did submit these to you, and I actually made sure that we add section 10 to our council rules. So I'm going to make a motion to add these to our council rules. If I could have a second.
Second.
Jay?
Discussion? I don't see anything, and this could be nitpicking, but I don't see anything of definition to even give I mean, what's professional to a well digger is gonna be different than professional to a banker. I don't know that this is, I know it's a rule and not an ordinance, but doesn't that leave a lot open to interpretation?
It does, and I believe, and that's why in there it gives the presiding officer that latitude.
Isn't that already under Robert's rules, Bill?
Robert's Rules calls for decorum. I don't know that it addresses everything in there, Eric.
Okay. Do you feel we're okay with it the way it is, or should we have some sort of a definition of?
I just saw this.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to
Okay.
speak on it.
That
'Cause
would
you're
be
right.
my-
You would have to look at Robert's Rules.
Yeah, that would be my only thing, and Dustin, not to blindside you, but I didn't think of this until, I don't know, about 14 seconds ago. That would be my concern, is if we do this and it contradicts Robert's rules. Robert's rules are tested procedurally and by the courts. I don't know if this would put us in I'm getting a no, so I guess I'm.
Robert's Rules would come second to anything that's in your council rules,
Okay.
if there was a hole in your council rules.
Okay, so we would just have to make sure that future mayors and presidents of council know what's Robert's rules and what's council rules. Okay. I'm not mad at it.
My concerns with this, I like the thought of it. The one piece that I kind of take some concern with is 10.04, the dress code. I'm just concerned about the effects that might have on members' First Amendment rights. So that's my concern with this. Everything else, fine with it.
So,
You're speaking specifically to
The dress
the
code.
yeah. The clothing, like with the
Yeah.
wording and,
Right.
so just out of sheer devil's advocate, could we do away with that by just having some nice embroidered shirts that are our meeting shirts or
We
something?
talked about that in the council. They didn't want them.
Well, at that time, this is totally different even.
I know.
I mean, I'm not saying definitely, but is that a compromise? Because, I mean, I wouldn't like that because I couldn't wear my fun shirts. But, I mean, if that takes away bickering over a backwards hat, then so be it.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I guess my kind of thought with that one, with the dress code aspect is, I mean, we have U.S. senators that wear Carhartt hoodies and shorts to meetings.
You can say Fetterman out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people probably know. But I'm just saying, when you talk about in a professional manner, okay, well, can I not wear my hoodie? Because I changed today before I came because I was like, oh no, I need to look a certain way. But I mean, that was kind of my thought with that. I guess I do see where you're coming from, Zeke, with the First Amendment. That I do see that. But I like the premise of this. I mean, because we don't have anything like this
and that
in
was-
there. And I do believe that, I think we all know, it's probably necessary.
And as I was explaining before, this went back a year or so ago, noticing that we didn't have,
Yeah.
and I'd asked previously, we don't have these, as you use guardrails, right, standards, that if, we're here to serve the public, we should actually represent them in a higher standard, and that's kind of where this was aimed toward, not specifically to pigeonhole anybody
Yeah.
or take anybody's rights away, but
Yeah.
to set that standard where ourselves and future members of the council should look to. And,
Well,
and so
that-
we have something to look for.
Yeah.
If someone were to come out, hey, what are your rules of decorum? Well, that's
Right.
goes to Robert's rules if you're by default, but
Yeah.
if you don't have anything that you're gonna set a standard, and at some point, if we need to amend that or change that or remove that, I'm not opposed to those conversations. I'm not opposed to, having a certain uniform, and I don't know what the senator from Pennsylvania, what he has to incur. Maybe they have a fine in Senate because he has, I don't know.
There
I
might,
have no idea
I
what-
don't know, there might
Of
be,
course,
I
that
never
is
thought
not
about
imposed
that.
here, there's no fine, of course, here, but, it gives those,
So instead of being broad, could we go the other way? Can you list specific things that you can't have? And not just professional. You can't have a hat when you're at the bench. You can't have and just leave that. I mean, don't even put professional standard. Just say you shall not, boom. I mean, would that be if there was a
you
distinct
could make a
list?
certain, you could probably make a list of certain things that could be debated for hours.
Well,
and
that's what I'm
that's
asking.
certainly
But
not-
is it a way, if there are certain things that are bothering you right now, that put this on your heart to do, let's list them, discuss them. If we can come to a somewhat of an agreement, we add them, and if more come up, we discuss them and we add them. That's why rules can be changed as a working
And that
document.
goes
right?
by your point, as what you mentioned before, which is why it kind of works.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly.
Oh, my bad.
Right, thank you. So, and that's, and I have no issues with that. If we're not ready to move forward on this and you wanna have those types of conversations, that's why hoping to have that ahead of time. We could have worked some of those details out if there's something specific that is, has any heartburn with anybody specifically, if we should list something specific, or if there are items. I did try to keep these non-specific as a list, because, I mean, you could make a list 10 pages long and nitpick every single one. And, rather than just having a general standard that we can abide by and maybe disagree on, I have no problem with that. But rather than nitpicking because somebody has a different type of sock, that
Yeah.
totally avoids the whole purpose of this.
Will Bill swing over wear that ugly suit jacket?
What's that?
No, that other one.
The green one or the red one?
Like, right,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
So,
I'll just say, I think from me, Dustin, we made you council president, and if this is on your heart to do and you feel like it's important, I don't think it's anything we're not already doing. So you have my support to move forward with this.
So without going through the process of laying it, do we just wanna
Yeah.
vote on it and
Yeah.
either take it or not?
Yeah.
You got a first and a second, and you had to,
Okay, guys.
wait. You had a first and a second, you had discussion. You can either table it or you can vote on it now.
Well,
Yes.
I make a
I'm-
motion to vote.
Roll call.
Roll call?
Jay,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Zeke,
Yes.
Patricia. Yes. Courtney,
yes.
Dustin.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir, on your first.
All right, Jay, sorry for the delay on that.
Hey, no problem.
I know your name came up earlier in the meeting. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to
No.
that, or you have your
No,
floor for
She
your
did a
time.
great job explaining what went on, everything went
Okay.
well, so, no,
Okay.
I'm good.
Did you have any concerns out of the meeting?
Yeah.
Just a time frame. They came up with a time frame that seemed a little unreasonable to me. But other than that, I mean, everything that they brought in would have to be voted on by emergency, which we decided we weren't gonna do. We were gonna make everybody wait the whole 90 days on everything as we talked about. So that's the only thing that really
Why
concerned
would
me.
it have to be emergency?
Do what?
Why would it have to be emergency?
Something to do with a rebate for solar that they were gonna be able to get, but they had to turn it in by a certain date, and they had to show that
What I'm
they,
hearing is their lack of planning has now become our emergency.
that's what they were hoping.
Okay.
But other than that, everything else seemed more than reasonable. They were bringing in a lot of good jobs, gonna have a lot of people hired, so it would help the community.
Thank you. Thanks for taking your time to go.
Thanks, Jay.
You bet.
All right, committee reports, land use committee. Do you wanna?
Yeah, so we set a new chair. We're lucky enough to meet with some potential developers. And then our next meeting is gonna be April 15th.
Tax day?
Next evening.
Shake your mind off of it. And talk about the state of the village.
Thank you, Zeke, appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay, now we're public comments. Keep in mind, we have several of them signed up. As I call your name, please step forward, indicate your address, and you will have 5 minutes to speak on the topic that you choose. First on the list, Ron Jan.
My name is Ron Jan. I'm not a resident of the village. I'm a Cider Township trustee, and I live on 104 south of town. If you'll indulge me, I would like to speak briefly on something from the township and then something about myself. The concerns that I have as a trustee is I've been contacted by some township residents expressing concerns about the development on McCord Road, questions that I couldn't answer. What is the plan for McCord Road to handle the extra traffic? As we all know, the village annexed back then a portion of the road, like to the center line there, but you get beyond that, that road is very narrow and it's not in the greatest shape. And, you know, from the discussions we have, I don't know that the township has the funds to redo that road on either side of what the village had, so my concern I had from residents was, is there something that you guys can do that have a developer absorb some of that cost, or what's the plan for the additional traffic for those type of questions? If anybody has anything else, they can reach out to one of us trustees and discuss it with us. And that's all I have as a trustee.
Ron, would you stay to our additional business so we can talk back and forth about that?
About the road? Yeah, I can stay.
Thank you. Sorry, Dustin.
No, that's fine.
So the other part comes as me personally. I'm sure everybody's watched our meeting from last Thursday. There was a little bit of a heated discussion. It was not a little bit, it was a lot of heated discussion. And I want to apologize to the community for losing my temper. I'm not going to apologize for what I said because I still stand behind it, but I should have been adult enough to not lose my temper and do that. That being said, since then, my character, my reputation, and several things have been trashed on social media since then. So I am here to clear the air. I have not received any payments, any money, was involved in any discussions with data centers, land development, anything like that. The only thing I did, there was a video that popped up on social media today, shows me sitting in a cow meeting back there, and I want to explain that. I was asked by the developer, my mom owned 5 acres. That was all she owned, that was all I was involved in. My uncle owned the other thing, he sold that. He bought the land, it was his to sell. I'm old school, I believe in landowner's rights. He wrote the check, he should be able to do what he wanted to do. He sold it to the developer. I asked him not to sell it, to keep it, he chose to sell it. The developer wrote the check and bought it, so that's it. The night that I was in the cow meeting, I was asked to come. My mom had a stroke, she couldn't come by herself. So I was asked to come and just basically tell the council that mom had decided to sell her property on her own. That's what I did. I decided to stay and listen to the cow meeting. I sat right there in that chair, watching the TV. The TV wouldn't work. Mayor Goldhart came out in the room, tried to fix the TV. I was the only one here, only one in the room. He said, I'm not going to stand here and try to fix this. He said, come back here, sit in the corner, don't say a word. He said, you'll get the same effect as watching TV. So that's what I did. Anybody can watch the minutes from that meeting. That's what I did. I had no input, no thing. I just sat there and listened the same as I would have been listening on this TV. I've been accused of all kinds of stuff. I'm telling you, I have nothing. I have given almost 40 years of my life to public service. I was a firefighter, paramedic, and retired as a lieutenant from Jackson Township in Grove City for almost 30 years. Since then, I was a township trustee for 4 years. There was 2 years I wasn't, and then I'm back in again. I've been 2 years again. The date on that thing posted in 2022, I was not even a township trustee. I had messed up my petition and couldn't run. So the characterization that I was a township trustee sitting in that building is completely false. I was not there. I'm as a trustee. I was there as Ron Jan, representing my mother, but when I went back in that room, I was just a citizen that could have been sitting out there, but the mayor invited me back so he could be back in there and not do that. So I guess to my point, I hope that this is not what our community has come down to. You know, if somebody has a disagreement with somebody, they just trash them to no end. You know, because if that's what it's come down to, maybe I don't need to belong to this community. I've been here for 55 years. Not very many people can say that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up, I have Scott O'Neill.
9217 McCord Road. I'm here to speak again, just like Ron did, about McCord Road. Asking the village to go to the developer for the project on McCord and Durrett roads to ask them to enhance the roads around there. Off-site improvements are typical of developments. It is not a problem for the developer to be asked and or possibly mandated to fix McCord Road with whether it needs base repairs, complete replacement, widening, things like that. Not opposed to the development happening. There just needs to be steps that this council ensures are taken. The township had one of their medics sideswipe mirrors with a dually not far from my house on McCord Road. School buses can't pass each other without driving off the road to go around. They're literally in the grass heading towards the ditch to pass by each other. That's not safe. The village needs to hold the developer accountable. Jack and I spoke after the last meeting. He knows where I stand. I was on council and I worked with Jack in the past. He is always willing to listen. And that's what council needs to do, is they need to go to him and negotiate now instead of waiting to the very last minute. As far as data centers at Durrett and 104, I'm not saying data centers are good or bad. I don't look them up like that. I don't worry about that. That's landowner rights. Whatever they want to do, it's their land, do whatever they want. If someone doesn't like it, they should have bought it. I called the Economic Development Director of Hilliard. The data centers in Hilliard provide enough jobs that puts them within the top 5 employer within the city of Hilliard. Everybody always says that there's no jobs in data centers. Hilliard disagrees. I've looked up home values right around data centers in Hilliard. Every year they go up. There's no decrease in home value. I don't know where that comes from. I can't say whether the air's clean. I don't know. I don't study that. I'm not knowledgeable of that. I don't want to try to speak to that. People say data centers make noise. Maybe some do. I don't know. I stopped at one in Dublin off of 161. Went in their little court where their entrance was, stopped, shut the truck off, got out. Didn't hear a sound. Not so much as a peep. And then as I'm sitting there, somebody pulls up to go to the gate to go into this, and it's an Amazon data center. The loudest thing on that whole court was somebody forgot to oil the gate, and as the gate went up, it made the noise going all the way up. That was the only sound you could hear. So I don't know where some of the stuff comes from, and I'm not saying it applies to all data centers, but just that one I've been by, the ones I've looked at with Hilliard, that economic development director, I asked him if he could go back in time. Would he invite data centers to Hilliard? He said absolutely. They've provided millions and millions of dollars. And I know money's not everything, but money can help kids that are less fortunate play ball over here when they're growing up. You know, I've talked to some people that said the only reason they can play ball over here when they were little was because of nice donations. Maybe the data centers are going to be banned in the future. If you guys choose that, that's fine. Maybe we have one that's going to sneak in under the wire. Maybe rather than fighting it, maybe we work with them. Maybe we ask them for big donations. Maybe we ask them for different things. Every event that the city of Hilliard has is sponsored by Amazon. Every one. It's not a conflict of interest. It's not an ethical dilemma. There's nothing to look into. I know everybody wants to scream that down here, but it's been done. It's tried, it's true, it's legal, it's feasible. You just have to ask. And it's a cooperation between developers, it's cooperation between Amazon, and it's cooperation between the village. Just something to think about. Call the Economic Development Director in Hilliard. I'll give you his number. I gave it to Ezekiel. I'm not sure if he called him or not. He said he would. He'd probably tell him the same thing he told me. So we don't have to go broke fighting Amazon. We could work with them. We could have big mounds. We could have 30-foot piles of dirt around the place to where it would never be seen from the road. Put trees and dirt. I'm sure if you ask them, they'll probably cut a check and put dirt and trees up. You just have to ask. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Jason Height.
72 Chambers Bay Road. Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening. So I don't have 55 years here. I've got about 9 months here. So, but my wife and I moved here after almost 30 years in the military and 4 years retiring after that. Asked me 2 years ago. I didn't know where Commercial Point was. I knew where Ohio was. That's about it. Okay. So my wife and I decided, me in particular, we're moving to a new community. We're not moving again, to the best of our knowledge. And I can get into the local politics and find out what's going on here. So y'all have seen me sit here, haven't made any noise, just thought I'd sit back and listen. And went to a trustee meeting once, and I saw enough there and figured I'd settle it here. I went through some of the resolutions and ordinances. I just have some questions on it that maybe you guys think about when you're talking about it. All right. Resolution 9 is 180-day moratorium. Okay, Section 1A allows zoning and rezoning that's currently in the legislative process to continue. 1B and 1C don't have that. Okay, so you have Resolution 08-2026 having its first reading tonight. 07-2026 and Ordinance 2026-05 both have their second reading tonight. And Resolution 2026 is currently tabled. So do those get to continue? It's not in that resolution that they get to continue if you guys pass this tonight. Okay. And 1E applies to data center. So I'm not sure why you have a 180-day moratorium on this resolution for data centers when Ordinance 2609 has an 18-month moratorium on data centers. So I don't know if it's a backup plan or they weren't coordinated, whatever that may be. Issue between Ordinance 09 and 10 is 10 identifies 2 properties that apparently, to my knowledge, have approval at some point, whether that's the 2023 ordinance that you guys are trying to rescind or not. I'm not sure. Okay. Section 4 identifies those. It also states that the discontinuance of such use that has been granted with that for 12 months would then terminate the non-conforming status. So if you go into an 18-month moratorium, that exceeds the 12 months. So are they by default not able to become data centers? Okay. So that's a question. So in summary, are the 2 properties that are identified allowed to move forward legally? Okay. If they are, I think the council needs to look at that reality once you go through this 18, whether 180 days or 18 months, to figure out the risks that can be mitigated that have been identified. They've got closed loop systems now. AWS has that. I did that research today. Noise mitigation. Okay. Whatever your results are, upfront and honest with the residents and the community as a whole. And if you go forward with it, because legally through the courts they say you have to, or you guys find that out beforehand, then work with the developers as discussed earlier. And if not, you guys are the conscience we voted for. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Mike Helzer.
313 Creekview Drive. My name is Mike Helser. We're new to the community. We purchased our home. We're the second owner. I'm here to speak regarding continued flooding that is occurring on our property. I do have photos of them while I'm passing around. Due to being the second owner's property, I don't have the dates as to when the issue began. The property drains were placed almost at 311 Creekview. The flooding is affecting our property on 313 along 309. There is a field behind the homes on Creekview Drive that has the runoff, the river water that flows down the property of 311 that's flowing onto other properties. I also asked numerous individuals when the storm catch basins were placed, and no one advised me of the date. My wife and I have been in contact with numerous people regarding the continued issues. We have spoken with Dave Riley, the village administrator, Mike Struckman, the street department, Charles Baker, a person to contact at DR Horton, Ryan Wilkins, who is the residential building official in the city of Circleville, Tricia Anderson, the Omni Group, with the HOA. We contacted the AEP, Pickaway County, Devin Weller, who is the landowner of the property behind, and also Jack with DR Horton. We were told by Dave Riley and Charles Baker that once and if the development goes behind our houses, that the problem would be fixed. But at this time, we have no idea when that will happen, if it will be fixed, and then if the drainage would be corrected, and stay fixed. But there's no guarantee. As you can see from the photos, our electrical box, the internet box is almost completely submerged. This is not only a flooding issue, but a safety issue in our backyards. The electrical box, the internet box, during the time of flooding, were almost completely submerged. Both boxes were only an inch away from being completely underwater per AP, and after speaking with Taylor at AP, she stated that it is not considered a safety issue or to be moved until the electrical box goes completely out of power. She stated they would not turn our electric back on until it would be fixed and inspected. Then this would be up to the homeowner as to, when the drains are fixed in their yard. They would need to be inspected and approved. The neighbor at 309 and my wife both work from home. They would both be out of employment until, that's resolved and, electric's turned back on. We can't make any improvements or put anything in place in our backyard because of the risk of flooding and damage to our property. It's like the fence that was already installed when we purchased our home. Our homes are also not considered in a flood zone, so if there is damage to our property, I'm being told that it would not be covered because we're not in a flood zone. After speaking, text and emailing Charles Baker and Jack with DR Horton, Charles Baker stated that the HOA was going to come out and clean the drains and to make sure that there was no obstructions in the flow of the water. We were told it was completed. The flooding still occurred again after that on March 24th. They are aware that the pipe, it's a French drain, it's a 4-inch pipe, and that the last update that we received from Jack with DR Horton is that they were going to cut windows or holes in the 3 sides of the drains adjacent to the field. They are stating that these holes will allow significantly more stormwater into the storm drains. I want to know, is there going to be a push with the issue regarding the continued flooding if there isn't a resolution? From what I'm being advised, numerous homes are being affected by improper draining in our community. Can the council push to go through and hold DR Horton accountable for this? It should not be up to the homeowners when DR Horton is aware that the pipe that they put in was too small. After listening to everything I have provided, including documentation, I want to know if and when approved for the homes being built behind us, will there be continued will there be continued accountability for the drainage once they're installed? And can we have legislation that if it is installed, can this draining issue be fixed before anything is set forth for the development? That's what I'd like to ask.
During this time period, we just do public comments, so at this point, we won't be able to answer the questions.
Okay.
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 Thank you. You're sure. Thank you, Mike. Corey Wasmus.
Good evening. Corey Wasmus, 12930 Gibson Road. First of all, thank you all for all you've done. I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I don't really have too much prepared, but, like trustee Jan, I did wanna bring that up. First thing, you know, McCord Road, it is a very narrow road. I know working that when we were snow plowing, thinking it's kinda odd when you first turn off onto it, off of Durrett, it's kinda sloped down on the one side, and it'd be hard, very difficult just to widen the thing. But if there is a big development to go back there, depending on what you guys approve, it'll bring a significant amount of added traffic, so there's no doubt it'll be a big impact, and it always comes down to who's gonna pay for that. You know, it's all a township road except for that one section you guys annexed, and from what I understand, you only annexed to the center line of that road, so it's difficult right now, but if we can come to some kind of agreement, I know it's already been annexed and stuff, but as you go through this process, it would help greatly if we could help each other out instead of it landing on all township taxpayers. Same kind of thing, if I could go personally, I just want to say, seeing how things have evolved over the last 12 months, I'd say, from a council where at one point we came in and we weren't even sure if we'd be allowed to talk or not, you know, speaking as a resident, to now you guys are extremely open, transparent. I mean, you guys have made strides. I remember back then talking to somebody like, you know, isn't there some people, like some patriots, to step up and lead this community? And they said, you know, it's always been a struggle just getting people that want to run. But look, what was there, 12, over a dozen people that wanted to run and different things with petitions. A few fell out, but you guys, you know, succeeded and you're here, and we're glad you're here. And the ones that are still here, Eric and Jay, same with you guys. Can't say I'm proud of you guys just personally, willing to work, bring in these new fellows. Jay, Justin, you've been here kind of. Seems like you always been on council. You've been through it all. Now you're sitting in the mayor's spot, at least for tonight. So appreciate you, but just know, I know there's somebody standing here not too long ago threatening you with major litigation, talking about $500,000 retainers per attorney. I can tell you that is very threatening. You know that. But I can also tell you there's a lot of people that are in this community that have your back. They're praying for you. They know that what you're up against, it's a giant, but we know there's somebody a lot bigger than any giant that's walking this earth. So just know that we are with you, and we have all the courage, encouragement straight your way. So appreciate all you being here.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Next up, Ken Hanning. Hopefully I didn't, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got some pictures to pass around. Some of them might be some duplicates from Mr. Helder. I live at 311 Creekview Drive. Significant flooding, crazy flooding. He's pretty much spoke on everything, but going to the drain problem. This is the tile that D.R. Horton put in as a secondary drain. Some of the pictures you guys will see, you see that there's a major storm drain which goes to the street. This is the tile that goes on the other side of the yard. It's right next to Mr. Helser's property as well. So cutting holes in this will not take care of the problem. Last time this yard flooded, this picked this tile up and it laid 6 feet from my house. So that drain is not even, it's free flowing now. It rained again, yard's still flooded with this tile. So what we're proposing to D.R. Horton is to come in and possibly redo this and put a bigger box drain in. Maybe the same size as what's already installed, you know, to begin with. It's a 24 by 24, I do believe 24 deep box drain that D.R. Horton put in originally. This right here, this is probably only 4 inches deep. And then that pipe, that 4-inch pipe, then runs to the big storm drain, and then it goes to the street. So that's where I'm at with the flooding. We're asking D.R. Horton to come out and rip the yard up if they have to. I don't care, but I mean, the pictures you'll see there of the final grade before the sodding, you'll see the significant erosion since the flooding has happened. So my yard now has a huge slope. The more and more this floods, the closer and closer this comes to my house. The last time that this flooded, it was 6 feet from my foundation. My sump pump was going crazy. We have no flood insurance. If that electric goes out, so does my sump. So I gotta protect my assets, you know, my neighbors. Mr. Biggs is gonna be up here next. You know, I live literally right between Helzer and Mr. Biggs. So that's what we're just asking for is D.R. Horton, just, I mean, help us, you know. I mean, we're trying to protect our assets here. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Reed. Robert Biggs, next.
Well, not too much, but during High Creek View, we're all neighbors there. We're all dealing with the flooding. The issue is there's an electrical box that was 1 inch away from blowing, and nobody had electric on the whole block. And I don't know if AEP will come back out and repair that, or how long we'll be out electric if it ever happens again. The small drain that comes through feeds into the bigger drain that's going across our yards. So all that water comes in from that field, goes into that small drain that feeds into the big drain. That small drain, when it feeds into the big drain, it was almost up to where that small drain couldn't even feed into the big drain. We have over 4 foot of standing water. We have ducks out there thinking it's a pond. It is a lot of water out there, and we're just looking for some help from D.R. Horton. I know we're talking about putting some slits in and some windows, but we don't think that's going to help. But we do need some help with the flooding. Thank you.
Thank you. Last up, Bruce Moore.
Bruce Moore, 12491 Gibson Road. As many of you know, I represent several of the developers here in this community, including K-Nova, who recently filed a major site plan for the JM property. Today, there are 4 pieces of legislation on your agenda. 4 pieces of legislation on your agenda that directly affect all of the developers in this community. And what I'm here to ask for today is what all of you have mentioned time and time again, and what many of you ran on, transparency. We heard Councilmember Miller say that he wanted the community to engage, but yet seems to have intent or a plan to pass 3 of these pieces of legislation tonight. How do we have members of the community engage with council if legislation that's proposed, placed on an agenda on a Wednesday or a Thursday before, and then it's a holiday? I would say that most of the community outside of these council members up here haven't even seen what's actually on those resolutions and those ordinances. So what we're asking for is that you give that 90-day opportunity that Jay was talking about for legislation. Let it work through the process. We heard community members tonight speak about the benefits of data centers. We heard them speak about mitigation. And as Mr. Miller mentioned, yes, if these get passed, it could lead to a fight, but nobody wants a fight. But who's not going to protect their property rights? You heard people here today, they're trying to protect their property rights from flooding. Why wouldn't someone who came before this council, not these council members, but before these council, followed the process, had a property rezoned, specifically told you can only build data centers on this property, only for 1.5 years later, for the different council members to say, we've changed our mind. Why wouldn't they fight to protect those property rights? But nobody wants to fight. There are mitigation measures. We want time to try to work with the village, to find out what mitigation measures can be implemented in writing in a development agreement with this village. That way, whether it's mounding or noise suppression or a specific type of data center, whatever those things are, that way we can incorporate those and we can all move forward without having to fight unnecessarily. There can be great benefits to this community. And there can be protections put in place. Your major site plan legislation allows you as council members to put conditions that protect the health, safety, and welfare of your citizens on any major site plan that's approved. So you aren't without recourse. It is not something that you have to stop. You can allow development to move forward, development that was already legislated in this village to move forward without risking the people's money, because that's what these people need an opportunity to discuss. As we've heard, there is a risk. It will be some expense. And as of right now, many of the community members that I've spoken with don't know that risk. They've heard that data centers are bad. They've heard that they should be stopped. But no one asked what the cost is to stop those. And that is the question that everyone should have an opportunity to consider and to weigh in on. before council votes on these pieces of legislation. Thank you for your time.
Okay, that's all we have for public comments. We're gonna move on to business items. First one up here is we're gonna pick up the medical research facility that was mentioned earlier. Mayor Geiger just wants us to find out if we want to proceed with a formal presentation from them, if there's anybody who wishes to do that.
We ask a couple questions of Dave.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah.
Dave, with
Hang on, I can't hear you.
Oh,
You're
no worries.
Hang on. Okay.
My only concern is, this is probably gonna have some sort of wastewater cooling issues. Are we going to refuel possibly something tonight that then we're gonna have an issue with another place, but they don't have any place to put their?
So as far as you're asking about cooling water?
Yeah, or are they gonna have to have
Or
water
waste
that could have radiation in it?
Process, yeah. So to my understanding, there's going to be at the very first initiative of the building, it's going to be just a diagnostic, not testing where they're going to be doing actual x-rays or MRIs on people, okay? This is going to be simply a data retrieval and consolidation where they bring pieces of information together and they decipher everything that's going on. So there's not gonna be any like patients coming in to do testing.
Okay.
Not at this time, that's my understanding.
So what we're doing is, because it's not over, and this is not for you to answer, but because it's not over a certain square footage and meet the definition of a data center, they're gonna just call it something else and put it under the square
Well,
footage for data center.
they said there would be computers there would be electronic storage there, but there would be, mainly that is for, and I don't wanna speak for them, but
Right.
the way it was told to me,
And that's all I'm asking. is how you
it
want
was
to-
going to be, basically, there would be highly technical people there, technicians, medical technicians there, interpreting that data and information that was brought in from medical facilities around the area, hospitals. And then they would be compiling that information for doctors to use in the surrounding area. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
That's
does.
about as good as I can.
Yeah, no, that was perfect, because when you hear research facility, is it actually, doing the testing?
Is there uranium on site?
Right, yeah, that was originally what so we should be good there.
Yes. As far as water or wastewater specific usage, I was not given anything as to what their needs were at that time. And I don't think they were ready to give us that information.
Okay, but that's something you would monitor?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. We would have to know,
Yeah.
what is expected from us and what they would be sending us. We have legislation in place to protect us.
I just wanted to make sure that, you didn't think of anything that
No,
could pop
I was
up.
in the meeting and I didn't catch anything that would have been negative at that time.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Unless we're in opposition, I'll recommend to the mayor to put them on the next convenient public meeting. Okay?
Yes.
Can I ask, are we going to allow them to come to a cow, or is it gonna have to be a regular meeting?
I'm not
so
opposed to
people will know.
I'm not opposed, and we'll make sure I'm not opposed to having that on a house, since we'll have in the chambers here. I'm not opposed to that. We'll consult with the mayor to find out what her plans are and to find out if they will be prepared in that short of notice.
Okay.
The next one, for a comprehensive plan, so we need to, make a decision as to allowing the mayor to proceed with the contract on this, and then there will be a, special meeting to make that formal decision and to vote on it.
So, Bill, can I, so if I wanna make a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with MSG to move forward with the comprehensive plan and then we'll have a resolution later that states the amount. Is that correct, Bill?
Is that what you were?
Yes, that's exactly where I was going towards that.
You can wait for the resolution.
So
If we're gonna award a contract, I don't know.
Yeah, you need the resolution, you need the contract attached to it.
So we can make a motion to make a decision to permit the mayor to proceed with the contract, preparing the contract for MSG, as you made.
Right.
And then we would have to come back during a special meeting to present that and pass or approve the resolution.
So the motion was made, we just have to see if it's seconded.
And I'll,
Second.
we do a roll call, or we're gonna do all in favor?
Bill, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're just entering into a professional
Okay.
services contract, you can do a voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Hill, do you have it done yet? Oh, okay, I saw you back there, I was just seeing if it was finished.
Okay, the next one is our administrative guidelines. It's the update to our administrative guidelines that fiscal officer provided. There were 3 issues that were submitted to you. I will make a motion to approve those changes as submitted.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passed. The 4th item here is the Scioto Township flower sale. They would like to set up in the park and have appropriate, I'm assuming, street closures and stuff for that. I don't have a date on that one. I think it's
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually what, Thursday to Sunday or until they're gone, right?
I just need a motion and a second to move forward on this and make a motion.
Second.
Courtney, second.
Just that motion, right?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passed. Okay, from the amended agenda, we have E, a presentation from DR Horton regarding Scioto Crossing. Folks ready to go?
Before we get started, first off, my name is Jack Martino. I'm the division president of DR Horton here in Columbus, Ohio. With me tonight is Andrew Mao, our land acquisitioner, and Tiffany Rampt, who is our director of forward planning and entitlement. I just wanted to make, just to address the stormwater situation there at Scioto Crossing. First off, I appreciate you all bringing it to our attention. It is a concern, and we are taking that very serious, to the extent that the engineer that designed Scioto Crossing was a gentleman by the name of Jim Watkins, who owned Watcon Engineering at the time. Jim is now with Verdantis, and Jim wrote the recommendation or the prescription as to how to fix this situation. I sent that in an email to everybody last Monday, March 30th, along with a letter from Jim, and then the points of what that description would, or I'm sorry, the prescription would look like. So it has nothing to do with the grates on top. There's a concrete structure that sits in the ground that collects that water. Most of that water today is coming through an inlet at the top. So what would need to happen is that concrete structure will need to get dug up. I apologize, we will need to dig that structure up and affect the yards. And we will cut what are called windows in the side of that, which will allow significantly more storm water to get into that 24-inch water line, or I'm sorry, drain line, as well as the 12-inch drain line. That's the prescription that the engineer that designed this is suggesting in terms of the fix. I can see you saying, well, if he screwed it up in the first place, why is he going to screw it up again? So we would be more than happy to work with the village's engineer to have them look at this prescription as well before starting on the work. Okay. So I just wanted to address that.
You're willing to do that, right? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And Jack, before you get started, I do want to appreciate the attentiveness you've had for the customer service that has come in. And I know personally that we've talked about this.
Yes.
So we do appreciate, taking care of this. And
absolutely.
And we trust that as this moves forward, that this circumstance that we're dealing with on the one side, we can mitigate on this side or not, maybe have that repeated.
Yeah, hopefully they're two totally separate issues, but those photos that were passed around, they're as disturbing to me as they are to anyone else that would see those.
And that is one thing, as you've seen, we don't want to repeat it.
Correct.
On this scenario. So.
Understood.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks. So I will go ahead and let Andrew get started. Thank you for letting me talk about that.
Good evening, council. I appreciate it. And in theory, this should help that problem because we're going to catch a lot of the water that's draining across that field and retain it in these ponds. On that note, though, so thank you for the opportunity to present Estates at Scioto Crossing. Jack's done the introduction, so I'll skip that. You all know we've been building here since 2004. Want to continue that relationship, and tonight we bring forth a plan that we hope to do that with. So we've got the Estates at Scioto Crossing. This is at the corner, or at the northwest of Durrett and McCord Road. It's 110 acres. And it's to the west of Scioto Crossing, to the south of Southern Point. The property is currently annexed and zoned exceptional use. And our plan is for this to be an extension of Scioto Crossing. When this property came through before, it was, just repeat that. It was the feedback that was given when they tried to do something significantly more dense. So that's really the direction we're heading. I think as you come in, that doesn't really work on the TV. Can you go back? Thanks. Oh, one more. Forward. As you come in, you've got the you'll have open space at the entrance, and then as you come in, and you come in to a 10-acre community space there'll be a park, pavilion here, and then we're saving 8, so that's about 2.5 acres, and then saving over 7 acres of the woods, of the wooded property. We'll have walking trails throughout the community that will, that will tie it all together. You'll be able to walk around this pond, come up, walk through, connect to the sidewalks. So we think that'll make a great amenity with the passiveness of the passive open space of the woods, combined with the activity in the park. So this plan exceeds the required open space, which is we're providing 27.6 acres compared to the requirement of 18.1 acres for the village's PUD ordinance.
What's the number of houses per acre of net developable?
So so the net density is gross density 2.91, and the net is 3.77, and which versus an allowance of 4 acres.
Is there any way that could get to 3 or below?
Not really.
Because I know we had discussed, and I think you guys were here when we were talking about it, making the new standard 3. And if you want more than that, you got a PID or PUD or whatever. I just didn't know if maybe this could be the community that we kick that off with. Say that 3 is the new standard, and if the builder wants to see what Commercial Point considers, it could be that 3. But if it can't happen, I understand. It's dollars and cents.
Yeah.
But
not really.
He did say you've been here, for umpteen years, and would that be nice if we could send them to one of your communities to say this is the standard we want moving forward? I mean, if it can happen, that would be a plus, but if it can't, I understand.
We'll go back and take a look at what we can do, but I would say it's probably a tough putt.
Yeah.
So if you can go back to the
While we're talking about the green spaces, though, I know we had some conversation in the land use committee about utilization of that green space with maybe increasing community access via parking and different maybe amenities like is any of that subject to change under this current plan as it sits right now? Since we had that conversation?
Yeah, and I think we are providing, you can go back up one more. Sorry, normally I've got the controls here, but so we are providing parking along the south of it.
Yeah.
And your question was the clubhouse or pool house and that sort of thing.
Yeah, or like a basketball court, pickleball.
Yeah, and I think pickleball, I think that's fully, those are highly utilized these days, and I think that's something we'd definitely be interested in taking a look at. Okay. Especially, with the age-targeted community in there. I think that's a section in there. I think that's which I'll get to in a second. I think that's definitely something we would look at.
Okay. We also talked about protected covenants over the green space area specifically.
Yeah, and that will be restricted.
What we're trying to do, they're going to give that forward presentation that we actually had to the others real quick, and then we'll probably finish up and do a follow up on that. That was the plan we're going to have. Is that fair?
That's
okay.
very fair.
Okay,
thank you. Here's an overlay on the aerial, so you can see the section of the woods that are being preserved in here. So we will be removing some of it, but the bulk of it will be saved. And then we're also saving this woodland on the south of the pond. In addition, we've got extensive buffering. On the east side, we're adding some buffer to protect those, the trees that are there, and that will allow us to put the drainage on the lots, as is typically done, without having to impact those trees. In addition, we've got on the north side, we've got McCord Road, and the residents to the north, we've got some mounding and woodland, and then in addition to that, on the south, we've got some additional buffer there from the Carney's property, and we are looking at the ability to add some mounding to help with their drainage issues, because they do get a lot of water coming under the property with trees on top for some buffer. Here's just some examples of the park amenities that we'd be putting in. We've got a very nice pavilion, swing set, playground. None of the residential pods. Sub-area C, which is the yellow and pink on the east side, that's 156 single-family lots. 63 most of them are 63 by 126 minimum. Some of them are 50, which provides some variety of the lots, and it also helps with the lot fits. Be the same product, just the 50-foot lots would be restricted to 2-car garages. And again, we've already talked about the open space on the east side to protect, so that we protect the trees. And then on the northwest corner is sub-area A, which will be 81 age-targeted patio homes. These will be ranch homes, 50 by 125. We'll have an amenity or have a maintenance package on those, so that we'll be targeting people in the community that are ready to, their kids are gone, they're ready to move down, or get people coming into the community that you can add, or the grandparents can come and live nearby. Which I know growing up, or my kids growing up, grandparents were a couple miles away. It was great. So, and then
How many of those are there?
there's 81 of those. I'm sorry, I skipped that number. And then sub-area B, the blue lots in the southwest corner. Those are 84 single-family lots, and those are 50 by 126 minimum. similar product is sub-area C. Again, it's all the two, they'd be restricted to 2-car garages. And the smaller lots allow us to exceed the required open space that we talked about already. Feel by saving some of that open space, kind of that trade-off. So, summary of key facts. We've got 110 acres, 9.8 acres of open space, of community space, including 7.2 acres of the preserved woodland. It's actually a little bit more than that because we've got some behind the lots that we're saving. And then you see that, we've talked about the exceeding the open space requirements, the 321 lots with 81 patios, 84 single family, and 156 in single family in pod C, the yellow and pink lots, with the gross density of 2.9 and net density of 3.7 and allowed density of 4 per the current ordinance. So here's some examples of the product that we've. These would be the 3-car integral, so these would be on the 63-foot lots. Then we've got these would be the rest of the single-family lots.
Will those have basements on the slabs?
The customer would be able to choose. And then these would be the patio homes, and these would be on slabs.
Are these owner or rental? Or
These would be owned.
could it be both at all? Or I mean, it seems like that's what people are asking for, is for people to have, that
Rentals?
yeah, because when they retire, they just, they don't want to own anything anymore. And the new thing seems to be to give away your inheritance before you die, so you can use it. I mean,
These would be targeted towards for sale. I know there's a big market for the rentals.
is that something you would consider there, Jack, or?
I mean, I will go ahead and address a couple things that I do want to address, but specifically on the rentals, we haven't written anything into the restrictions that would preclude an investor to come in and buy the homes. One of and what would make those homes attractive, that particular product, it's what we call age targeted. It's not age restricted. Age targeted being it's 2 and 3 bedroom, single story homes that are built on slab to begin with. Age targeted, they don't like a lot of stairs, and they'll find a place for storage. But and then if you go back to that sub area, what we're going to call A, those 81, they would have a maintenance package on them, so all of those lawns would be mowed, so it would be more of a kind of a lifestyle where you do not have to mow, so all of the lawns would be mowed at that same time, and that would all be part of the HOA. So it might be attractive for an investor, but I'm not looking to sell 81 of these to some institutional buyer. Yeah, I think we have enough of that. Yeah, okay. The other thing I did want to address, let us look more closely at the 3. Councilman Nungas, I appreciate the suggestion on the 3. I believe, if I recall correctly, Scioto Crossing and possibly Chestnut Estate, they might have been 3.1 or 3.3. I think we're somewhere right in there. This looks to be 3.7, so give us a little time on that to scrub that out.
I just wanted to ask early.
I appreciate it, yeah.
I like that adjustments have been done since the last time. We have a builder this time that some of us may like, some of us may not. But
Sure.
we have a builder, so we're making positive strides. I'm still not saying that I'm sold that we can come together on the infrastructure off-site upgrades. Cause I don't know if there'll be a TIF involved or what there would be since it's off-site. But I think that's your biggest hurdle. If we can't figure out McCord Road to everybody's agreement, the chances of this passing are about 0.
Okay.
Estimate.
I appreciate the candor. Let me just respond, and just so I understand. Are we going to use a traffic study to make that decision? which is typically the whatever traffic study and whatever the village's engineer would review that traffic study with respect to the additional trips that this would cause both on McCord and Durrett. What that study is suggesting, or what that study would mandate, we would be in agreement to perform.
So that study that was done for the last one time this came in, probably gonna be about the same, and it was whether it happens or not. There has to be a turn lane on Welch Road to Lane, whether it happens or not.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you'll say, well, even if we don't build, I just wanna get that done now. I know it's putting the cart before the horse, but let's not argue about that later. We've been down that with this property.
Yeah.
And the big stickler is, yeah, we would like an extension to fix that whole part of McCord. Whether it's something we work out with the trustees, to work with them,
Well,
if it, but for us to feel good about okaying this,
Sure.
we do have to play well with the neighbors in the township.
100%.
We're also township. So I just want to make sure that there's enough meat on the bone that or how can we come to that agreement so that that is off, that's dealt with. And then the Durrett Road, I know you have to do the 250-foot right turn lane, coming from each direction and all that. I don't know that another traffic study would be much different, but I just want to make sure if it says no build or build, it needs this. Are you going to do it?
Well, I think that's what I'm asking. Is that going to be is it subjective, or is it what that study says we have to do? So that's what I'm at. Is this subjective? If the study says you have to do this to McCord and you have to do this to Durrett, are we in agreement that would say, yeah, we need to do that? I mean, we've got to participate because we're going to be adding that many trips. Or is council going to say, I understand what the study says, I understand what our engineer says, we want more? That's the subjectivity that I don't know, so I can't respond to that.
I will, just from I can only speak from this seat.
Yes, sir.
I guess, obviously, the traffic study is the one that is supposed to be undeniable. But we also know that they have a matrix that they put in and numbers up to this have to be mitigated, up to this don't.
Yeah.
But I think as a village, if we do not make that area to the south and the north match, I just think that's not great.
Well,
that's going to cause more rift between the two.
When you say to the south and the north, how far are you?
Well, that's what I just want to say. Could we agree that we as the developer would work that out with the village's engineer? Absolutely. And whatever the traffic study says and what the village engineer feels, is warranted on behalf of the village, that's something that I can work with.
Yeah,
if
that's
it's just, hey, we want
have faith in these two. That's
exactly.
why they represent us.
Understood.
And that's why, we're full-time now.
Yeah.
And we just want you to know that they are full-time now, and we expect that. And if they have a suggestion as you could or could not, it would probably be great if you went to the could.
Okay, no, that was gonna be my question, I guess, because if you're saying that you want to work with them, they say this is great, but like you said, we see more. The council, the township, we want more than what the traffic study says. Are you going to go with the more of what is suggested, or is it gonna be just, well, the traffic study says we don't have to do that, so even though you guys want the more, we're not gonna do the more?
Yeah, I hope with all due respect, I can't commit to the more because I don't know what the more is.
Right.
Right.
But
right.
You're willing, Jack. I mean,
I'm willing, absolutely, to work with the engineers and council and the village's engineers to satisfy that.
Because I will say, it felt like, I came in at the tail end of it last time, and it felt like maybe that didn't happen early on, and that's how we got where we were. That's how it took me till the night of to figure out they were over, the 4 on net because they were using gross. We just don't want that repeat. So
Sure.
we want to make sure that tonight, you're telling us and promising us that you will work hand in hand with these professionals that we hired, so that when they tell us that they have done what they feel is in the best interest from their specialty, we don't have to second guess it, and we can take it because you're going to tell us that that's what you're going to do.
100%, yeah. 100%.
And this will have to be a collaboration with the township because it's their road, so this is gonna have to be a collaboration with them, step by step.
Well,
And, I mean, it will be, not the decision necessarily on this part of it,
Yeah.
but it will be what happens because, just to let you know that from my perspective, the minimum standard on these roadways in this it won't impress me at all, okay?
Susan
The
has-
higher level is we're gonna have to
Susan,
make sure.
speak to that.
During this
Yeah.
process, so.
Just a comment, because we do have shared roadways, village goes to the center line, township is the other side. Everything that gets submitted goes to the county engineer as well. So I think you just recently submitted the MOU for your traffic impact study. The county received it and they have already provided their comments to that MOU.
Can we get that? Because I haven't seen the traffic study for that.
That hasn't-
It's still being done.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
have
Well,
to
he
do
was
it.
for, I thought you
It
were.
was for when they tried to come in last
Previous.
time.
Okay, so we did, there is a new
Different land
one.
plan, different
There's a new one.
densities, different traffic.
There will be a new one. Okay, okay.
So I guess, Susan, I do have a question maybe you can talk to. Because McCord Road is not blacktop. Ron, am I correct? It's all tar and chip layers, right?
There's a section that has been blacktop in the S curves.
Okay, but the rest of it's just layers of tar and chip. So that's probably gonna mean we're gonna have to go all the way to the base and redo it all with twos and all the way up, because if it's just tar and chip, we're not gonna have enough base there to even widen it all. So I wanna make sure you understand the type of road that you're talking about before we get too far. I mean, it's a tar and chip road that's in really bad shape. There's not a whole lot of room through the S curve. I think I remember when I was learning to drive, that S curve had a one lane sign. It used to just be a one, you had to stop, and if you met in the middle, it was whoever could go off the road the most didn't get damaged.
Sure, no.
You know, so
I'm sure.
I don't want anything hidden. I mean, believe it or not, I kind of like you, and I don't want to have to curveball or anything later.
No, I respect it. The candor saves us time.
Right.
And in this situation, again, working with the village's engineers who have that responsibility to provide that technical review and technical guidance to the village, we're completely beholden to that with the study.
And of course, you know how Wendy is, so we don't have to worry about you working with her, so that'll be squared away.
You mean that's part of the gig? I'll let you keep going.
Thank you, it was a great presentation, but just one thing if I could just add, when you're doing your park, depending with that amount of homes, you may need some extra playground equipment. Cause Scioto Crossings, if there are 5 kids at the park, it's too crowded. So just keep that in mind, I would make the park bigger than what's at Scioto Crossing.
Well, Patricia, this is Scioto Crossing, Scioto
No,
Crossing's playground
this
is
is
big.
estate, not Scioto Crossing. I mean, me and
This
some of my
probably
neighbors,
does-
we may come over and use that pavilion, you know what I'm saying? So we want a pickleball court too, but I'm just saying, you know, because with the swing, because there's only one baby swing, and there's a lot of people that, in our neighborhood right now, a lot of babies, and they wait in line to swing, so just keep
Appreciate
that in
that.
mind. It's extra
Okay.
required for that, thank you.
Are you to the point where you're done here, or you said you want to transition into
Do you
another?
want to address that? Yeah, if you'd like to, or you could ask.
We have a little bit on the school district. I'll make it super quick. I need you to drive, Andrew. So whenever we come into community, I've already presented this at our meeting a couple weeks ago. Whenever we go into a community, we try to be very thoughtful on the impact that we're going to be in schools. We know that Tays Valley's had some things in the news here locally on the school district, capacity issues, whatnot. So this particular project, again, my name is Tiffany. I'm the Director of Forward Planning and Land. So I am near and dear to Commercial Point and Tays Valley because I currently have 10 members that live in the Tays Valley School District. I have 4 of those family members that are actually integrated into the school, elementary, middle, and high school. My youngest brother graduated from Tays Valley High School in 2010, grew up on Cherry Tree Lane right here at Chestnut Estates. My very first home was at the Village of Southern Point back in 2004. So when I look at this school, you know, I'm looking at it through a lens of community, family feel. You know, we've been here, I've been here, Jack D.R. Horton through Westport Homes has been here, Dominion Homes, we've been here for a really long time. So we like to be transparent in how we look at data and what our impacts are going to be. So our subdivision, as Andrew mentioned, is going to be about 321 units. We look at the current district enrollment at Tays Valley, which is about 4,300. That 4,300 figure comes from publicly available information that comes from the Ohio Board of Education, through Tays Valley School District, and through the U.S. Census. Every year, school districts are required to report a 5-year forecast, budget, and that's where we get the enrollment numbers. So then we take the 4,300 students that we have, Tays Valley Local School District. Fun fact, one of the largest land masses in all school districts in the state of Ohio. So there's about 615 school districts in Ohio. Tays Valley lands about 49, I think, in size. You're larger than the city of Columbus School District in land size, which is pretty amazing. But that kind of tells you how many parcels, right, that you have and people voting for levies and whatnot when it comes to building new schools. So the fact is, and you can get this information again from the financial district profile, the school district is in a positive cash flow, and they are expected to be so for the next 5 years. They can pay the bills to turn the lights on, they can pay their teachers, they can pay for books. What they cannot pay for right now, as we know, we're being transparent, is a new school. We know that there's some capacity issues with some of the schools, and that does come through with bonds and levies. So I'm just here to report what our research has found on our impact on units and student count. So we have 321 units coming in. Using the student enrollment count and the population of Tays Valley School District, you've got about 28,000 in population. You've got about 8,400 households in Tays Valley School District. So when you do that math, you come up with the formula of a 0.57 student ratio. Well, we reached out and the school superintendent uses a 0.75. So we're okay actually being a little bit more conservative on that ratio. So for every one home that we build, we're expecting 0.75 of a human student to join the school district. Well, our 321 homes we're not building on day one. We're not delivering those homes on day one. We're not going to be delivering 240 students to the school on day one either.
100 a year, right? That's average?
Well, we are anticipating
100 homes a year, Johnson.
a successful sales pace to be about 40 homes a year. Yeah, 3.3 a month. So when we take that fraction, we're estimating about 40 homes a year, 8-year build out starting in 2027. If we're successful in the rezone and we have, of course, the public support, we'd expect about 30 students per year. All 30 students are not going to be in 5th grade. They're not all going to be in 10th grade. They're going to be allocated in population just as they are now in every grade of elementary, middle, and high school. So you can anticipate about 2.3 students per grade per year at full build out, and then it stops at full build out, right? So I'm going to also argue that our conservative ratio includes 81 homes that are actually targeted for age, retirement, grandparents. So are those 81 homes truly going to be generating students? Not likely, but we are putting that in our figure as if we are, okay? I also have an argument, and we have not met, full transparency, we have not met with the superintendent yet. However, we have been in touch. We're trading emails back and forth. We're trying to get on the calendar, so we're hoping to hear back in the next day or so. I know he's a little busy right now, but he has acknowledged our reach out, and we're going to talk to them because I'm also curious, there's not a lot of public information on this, that so if you look at our development right now, we've got 3 sub areas, right? So you've got your nicer, larger lots that will likely have your 3-car garage, maybe a little bit higher price point. Your subsection in the far north corner there is your age targeted for your grandparents, perhaps retirees, and then the sub area there to the south, perhaps first-time home buyers, a little bit better price point. That community to me means that you've got people that are going to be moving up or moving into that are already in the Tays Valley School District. So I'm curious when we meet with the superintendent, and this is going to be a question I'm going to ask, how many new people are coming into the district versus move-ups? Or, maybe they're moving in from an older subdivision. So that'll be something that we're going to kind of track a little bit just to see what the school district does about that. I'm trying to think what else here. Let me look at the notes.
Just while Tiffany's presenting, the price points we would anticipate on the patio product or the age-targeted product would be from the low 400s to the mid and upper 400s, and on the larger lots would be looking from the mid 4s to the mid 5s.
Yes. Something else I would like to point out. Teays Valley School District brings in about $17,000 a year per student in revenue, and that comes from various sources of school, whether it's state funds, local income tax funds, local real estate funds. The expenditures are about $14,000. So that's really good, right? They're bringing in more money than they're spending, and that really sets the tone for the district to be financially responsible, safe, and be ready for what they need to be prepared for. Those 81 homes, again, the age-targeted ones, if they're not really generating kids, they're not going to have the $14,000 per year expense for the students that you normally would have from single-family homes. But they will be paying taxes, and they will be paying income tax if they're still working. So there's some revenue coming in to kind of point that out as well, to kind of offset some of the ratio from the other homes that might be generating students. So with that said, I just wanted to kind of give my history of Commercial Point, both personally and professionally, and give our information as far as how we go about researching student impact in school districts, and hopefully educate some of you guys on your own community and school districts. So any questions?
I just have one comment. So the superintendent's been saying that we're growing at a rate of 15 to 16%.
You're what?
We're growing at 15 to 16%.
Oh, that's okay. That's a good point. Yes, let's talk about that.
So, to answer your question, with deductive reasoning, it would be pretty easy with the numbers of increase that a majority of those are new move-ins, not move-ups, because we wouldn't track the move-up in total enrollment.
Correct.
As a school district, we might of the school. So I don't want to get it twisted that, that's.
Yeah, no, I respect
so
that.
move in versus move up.
Sure.
Well, we're 15 to 16% increase in total enrollment. Those are move in.
So can I ask you where you got that data, the 15%?
I have good connections and it is public records.
Sure. Okay, so I got the same public record information, and I took a 10-year forecast and looked at enrollment counts the last 10 years. On average, your enrollment has increased about 70 per year. You actually had, Teays Valley School District had negative enrollment in 2019, 2020, COVID, right? The following year, you had a little uptick in your enrollment, up to almost 200 a year. But if you look at the course of the last 10 years, and it follows the trend of subdivisions even, or COVID, you're averaging about 70 new enrollees a year. You're also averaging 300 graduates a year, which is a really excellent graduation rate. So I just wanted to point that out. Anything else? Thank you.
Did you have any further updates? Because I know that, Zeke, did you have anything that you wanted to add from our committee before we,
I asked about those 2 points, particularly around the green spaces, but outside of that, yeah. But, I mean, there had also been a good conversation, I thought, about having some fencing along the roadside along the cord.
Yes.
So I just kind of wanted to see where you guys were generally at with some of the feedback.
Yeah, along McCord Road, certainly, we would do split rail fencing and delineation fencing along McCord, and along Durrett. And we can present that landscaping plan for those entry features as well.
Okay. Now, any of the items that did come up during the land use committee from the community, was there anything updated from that point that had stuck or that you had made a note of? There was one that kept sticking in my mind. Some of the other ones did come out when we were talking about this. There was a concept of potentially the products from Section A and the Section B potentially flipping. What's the any prognosis on that? I know that there was some reasoning behind it.
As in where they are?
Yeah.
Swapping these two.
Because of the elevation, I believe, of the one product is lower, and having it to see how the view would be or how it would fit with the. So I knew that was one that I wanted to make sure where we're at on that, or what the.
Yeah, the issue, the issue that we found there, if we can go back to that so that the council can see. You have it. There you go. Okay, the gold area is the proposed age targeted product. The blue area would be more single family at roughly 52 foot wide lots. The blue area is still proposed more as two-story product, whereas the gold area would be all the ranch. The reason the question came up is that property, the white property due south of the blue, was one of the township residents that was concerned with just having the neighbors, and if they had a lower product that was single-story versus two-story product, they wouldn't be looking into their property. We looked at that, and the concern there is just that the thoroughfare or the main spine road that comes through from McCord and kind of connects through down to Durrett would be through that age-targeted product if we flip them. Typically, that age-targeted product, that resident likes to be more set aside and more what I would call just exclusive or set aside. So that's why we didn't, but we could certainly add that we had talked about mounding along that south perimeter there, just to make, and planting pines and trees on the top there to screen that area there.
I don't think I heard the first part that happened a couple weeks ago, so I just wanted to be clear on that.
Correct.
Thank you.
Jack, are you guys thinking of outward facing towards the road so it looks nice? We had another development that has failed to come in. That's one thing we're going to be higher quality. If you can't get us to 3, maybe you could give us the outward facing homes, just on the, so it looks nice going by. With McCord Road being so tight, it might help the patio homes to have it that way as well. So, if they want to sit out and watch traffic or watch across the field to the Duval's field for deer, and it helps the perception going down because we don't see 47 trampolines and 16 different fences as people are driving by. I would love to see that as the standard moving forward, but I know that's a big expense.
Well, it can be, and typically what you're going to find there is you either access off of McCord, where you create like a private driveway there that would come in and flag into the driveways that would front McCord. That's one possibility. The other possibility is if you face them there, then you have those backyards facing the other residents. So, or we do some significant landscaping along McCord that you're not, and have enough opacity that you're not seeing a lot of that, what you call the rear yard.
I guess thinking of it from the end user standpoint, I would rather have my backyard facing my neighbors than the other way. And then couldn't you spend that landscaping money in doing a block or whatever from the other neighbors having to see? So you're spending it on the people paying the money for the house, not the people driving by. I know your engineers probably hate me or love me because they always have work, but is it an option? This is not a light project, and those little concessions to us, I mean, I know they're big money to you possibly, but would maybe be another olive branch that you're trying.
Sure. All right.
I'm not going to hold you to it.
I understand. No, you're asking, for us to take a look at it. Okay.
Then one last thing that I just passed out. So in development text, 3 minor changes that 3 minor corrections that we wanted to change. In sub-area B, it has a 50-foot rear yard setback. That obviously, all of them are 25, so we would want to change that to 25. And then also sub-area B states that the text states that the minimum two-story single-family resident shall not be less than 1,800 square foot. And for clarity's sake, we want to put in a ranch, a 1-story minimum of 1,500, just so that it's, a ranch is typically going to be a little smaller, but we want to specify that, just so we're all on the same page. And then in sub-area C, we'd want that same language, 1,800 square foot for the two-story. And it says that all houses should be 1,800, but we'd want to do 1,500 square foot for the range in sub-area C as well.
What's the timeline on your guys' thoughts of actually starting the clock on this and having everything ready to put us on the time clock? Because I know, the traffic study has to be included and all that stuff. I mean, are we looking months? Are we looking
Years. Well, I mean, I'm just being candid. I mean, typically, the engineering is 6 to 9 months in reviews. And then bid, development's anywhere from another 6 to 8 months. By the time you start your first home, you're 15, 18 months from today.
And
And
of
then
27.
complete that first home, you're 22 months. Yeah.
So, I know the traffic study and all that has to be before you actually punch the ticket and put us on the 60, 90, or 120-day clock. I just didn't know how far out you think that.
There appears to be some interest, and I appreciate that from council. You've given us a lot to come back and work with, or go back and look at and work with. I don't think anything here is unreasonable for us to come back to council. I'm just wanting to make, I'm concerned about the ordinance that is up for tonight's vote.
Which
this, as far as new developments.
Oh, okay, the moratorium.
Yeah, the moratorium, yes.
There's
The 180 day
the one that was
Yes.
in the second reading.
Yeah.
So that is our concern, just are we still working in that? And we would have obviously to work on an economic development agreement and development agreement, so we're perfectly willing to go back and put these things back in a plan and come back to council with the suggestions that we've heard.
I'll just tell you, my intention with the moratorium that's in its second reading is to motion to go away from that one later on tonight, and then try to move forward with the 100 or the 18-month target data centers moratorium that would not affect you at all.
Okay.
Anything else you have from your group? Jack, thank you for your.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate you.
Okay, in accordance to our change of agenda, I'm going to hereby make a motion to enter into executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 to confer with attorneys for the Village of Commercial Point concerning disputes involving the village that are the subject of imminent court action. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Jay, second. Courtney? Roll call? Eric? Sorry.
Jay,
Yes.
Patricia? Yes. Courtney?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
And I want to invite Wendy, Dave, and our solicitor, of course.
No, don't take anything with you.
Yep, everything has to stay here.
Thank you.